I just came back from the LA B2V, which is a ride that goes from Palmdale to Barstow and then finishes up in Las Vegas. It used to be a race many years ago, a desert race of about 400 miles of sand and a lot of dust. There's about 300 riders in this year, 2022, and I was behind a lot of these riders eating a lot of dust. So I want to take a look at how the air filter looks like after all that dust. Before the race, I took the bike to the dealer, to the Ducati dealership here in San Diego, and I asked them to inspect and clean the air filter. So whatever situation the air filter is right now, it's all due because of the race. So I've never done this inspection before. I never took the tank apart. Couldn't find many videos or documentation online on how to do it. So I think it's going to be trial and error, hopefully more trial than error. First step to get to the air filter is going to be remove the seat and then remove the side plastic covers here. Seat is easy, just a key here. Doesn't matter, I have the Enduro seat, but it's the same step for the OEM kit. These screws here, you can use a number 4 Allen and it will come off. Is like that. These two are also number 4s, so we'll get them off now. Behind this screw, there's a big hex nut. It's really big, so I don't have a wrench that will get to that. So I need one of these. There's not a lot of torque in that, so just holding it in place, you can almost hold it with your hand. I prefer to do it with this crescent here. Just careful because the nut will fall. It stays on the rubber grommet, so you don't need to remove it from the rubber grommet. Trust me, it's there. Before removing the side panels, don't forget to disconnect the blinkers. So you have this one here for the left side, and you have this one here for the right side. There's one hook here. Another one here. And a big one down here. This was the nut. It's a metal nut. But this is the one that stays on the rubber grommet on the other side of the panel. And the last hook is here. It's a little bit more complicated to remove with the crash bars installed, but not impossible. Okay, now you do the same to the other side. There are two main screws that hold this tank to the frame. One is this one here, obvious. The other one is under this, so we're gonna have to remove this piece of plastic here. I don't see any screw. It might be that it's connected only by a hook. So we'll see. Yeah, as suspected, you just pull this out. So basically you have this hook here connected here. And there is this other feature that engages a rubber sheath here. So just take it out. I suspect we're gonna have to take out the steering damper as well. This is not the OEM. This is one from Öhlins, an aftermarket, but it's pretty much the same. So the supporting structure, which is this guy here, and this one here is still the stock one. So I can see, the screw. Well, it doesn't look like a screw really. So we need to investigate a little bit more. We'll go there. This strap here I use for my Moskomoto Nomini or Nomimi tank bag. So I'll just take it out here so it's not on the way. Instead of removing completely, I'll just strap on the back here. So we'll take the entire stabilizer here by removing this screw here. You could remove this, but it's a little bit more difficult access. This one here you have to be careful because there is this spacer. I don't want the spacer to fall down. And you have this, but I'm gonna remove straight from here if I can access those screws. Well, it doesn't look like it's an easy access. So I'll remove the entire bar stabilizer first, and then we'll see how I go from there. If I remember, this is a number 4. Yeah, number 5. I put some Loctite when I installed last time. So I think I'll have to do that again when we reinstall. Same with this. By the way, this is awesome in the sand. Really helps much more than the OEM bar stabilizer. Okay, so this is out. and it's out. Okay, now I'm going to remove the support head for the bar stabilizer just to give us some more room. I suspect that the tank is going to pivot this way, so this is going to be in the way. So I'm going to get this out. Looks like a number 5 as well. Never took this out, and it feels like it was Loctited as well. So we'll put either a blue Loctite. Not sure if a red Loctite is necessary. Oh, didn't like that. There are no washers on the other side, so no worries. And it looks like it came with the blue Loctite, so we'll put blue Loctite when we are reassembling. So at this point, you can see that the tank already moves a little bit. This is actually weird, and I'll show you why. This is one of the screws that hold the tank to the frame. As you can see here, there's no screws here. There's no screw holding this part to the frame. So according to the parts manual, let's try to zoom in a little bit more here. As you can see, there is a screw and a spacer here that goes through the back of the tank here into this piece here. Seems like a rubber isolated mount, which seems very similar to the one on the front. Now let's take a look at the front of the tank. So you can see a flange, a metal flange here, which is on the tank. Let's slide a little bit to the other side here. It's going to be very visible. So you can see the isolating mount here, which goes to the frame. Believe me, the frame is down here. And it looks like there is a screw, a washer, and a spacer here. But that's not on my bike. So I wonder if on the last revision, the one right before LA B2V, I asked them to inspect and clear the air filter. I wonder if they forgot to put it in back. So before I reassemble, I'm going to order, these parts here. I don't want to be, with the tank flexing and jumping when I'm going off-road. So forget about that one. Let's remove this one and see what happens. Okay, so it looks like it has some Loctite as well. Not too bad. I have a screw. Looks like it's with red Loctite. Not a lot though. A washer. And a spacer. I suspect that the same set here is on the front. I can see the isolator here. Yeah, at this point, the tank is already moving. We can't pull it off yet because it's still connected to all the gas hoses and also to the fuel pump and all the electronics on the fuel pump. So we'll take care of that next. Yeah, as you can see, it's completely free now. So from both the front end here and from the back end. Since we're gonna have to disconnect the hoses, the gas hoses from the tank, my main question was, how do I prevent gasoline from spilling from the tank? And Ducati already solved that. So there are two connections to the hose. So one is on the left side of the tank and the other one is on the right side of the tank. and it's through this petcock valve here on this side, and I suspect that then you can unscrew these clamps and then remove the hoses. The weird thing is it's a straight through, so I'm suspecting that this is basically so gasoline can flow from one side to the other side of the tank. So let's take a look at the left side. If we go under here, you can see here the petcock valve. So I'm going to start screwing it in. So I believe that this side here is closed. Let's take a look at the other side. So the other one is right here. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, it's closed. And here's one hose, little screw here. So we can disconnect it from this side, and we'll do the same to the other side. The fuel pump on the Desert X is on this side here. So we're gonna have to disconnect a few wires from here. And I believe that that's gonna be it. And we're gonna be able to remove the tank. Okay, so on this side here. Here's on the other side. This is on the left side of the bike. We'll just loosen here, and as I disconnect, I'll get a rag. So I suspect that this is going to leak a lot of gasoline. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, seems close enough. Yeah, here's the gasoline. Hopefully it will stop at some point. Yeah. Okay. Don't smoke while you're doing this. And we'll do the same on the other side. Let's take a look at the bottom here. I'll put some light. Let's see if I can see, the best angle. Let's see if I can show the best angle. So this is the fuel pump. There's a hose here. I suspect we're gonna have to disconnect. And then there is an electrical connector here. So this is probably very easy to disconnect. It's one of those, has a retention here. Yeah, there you go, one of those automotive connectors. So that's out. So we just need now to disconnect this hose. Yeah, so this one here, you just press on these tabs and yank it off, and gasoline will start, coming out. So I'll do that, without the camera on, or at least I'll try to put it on the tripod again. Let's get the rag ready here. Okay, so that's easy. There's a kind of like an O-ring there. So now the fuel pump is completely disconnected. So it's basically this hose clamp here, or this hose nozzle, and the electrical connection. And in theory, the fuel tank is completely disconnected from the bike at this point. Okay, let's see if the theory holds. Of course, I wasn't smart enough to do this while the fuel tank was empty. So the fuel tank is full. It's going to be a little bit harder. And there's another wire on this side here. So it's not completely free yet. So on this side here, looks like there's another electrical cable right here. Try to disconnect it. Okay, that's disconnected. Okay, let's try again. Another cable right here. I have no idea what that's for. Okay, it's just a ground lug that goes straight here. So let me show. So this was right here. So just disconnected, pretty easy. There are two main hoses here. They're going down. You can already see the air filter right here. Let's see, maybe we can just... Okay, yeah, no, there are two hoses here. Tank is not coming without removing those hoses, and I suspect that there is no closing, that after we start. So we'll have to strategize here. So these are the two fuel hoses that I was talking about. They go, I'm assuming that they are the ones that go from fuel tank straight to the carburetor or to the fuel injector. And since the tank is full, I'm not sure if the fuel tank, the fuel level is low enough that it's not going to start leaking. So I think what I'm going to have to do is put a hose through here and drain the fuel tank first. So, better strategy. Instead of putting a hose in there and trying to suck it out of the tank, there's a petcock here. So, just connected a hose. I'm just gonna drain here. So let's see if it works. Let's open the petcock. There you go. Okay, now that the fuel tank is a little bit less full, we try to disconnect these two hoses here. Doesn't look like there's a clamp in there, so just try to disconnect it. Just to note, there are two hoses. The front one, the one closer to the front of the bike. It's a little bit thicker and heavier, and with some kind of metal wiring, metal coating. Let's see if it's gonna come off. Yeah, it came off. And the rear one is like a rubber hose, so I don't know if it's possible to mix them up, but just so we don't do it, this is how they are. Okay, no gasoline coming out of them. So they do look like they have two separate diameters. So the two hoses are off. Let's try lifting again. Yep, comes out clean. There you go. Tank is off. So just to confirm, these were the screws that we took from the rear part of the tank that goes into the frame. This was where we had, that rubber isolator and no screw in there. The frame is threaded, so the same screw that goes on the rear also goes in the front. So that confirms that we are probably missing a screw here. So I'm gonna put an order with Ducati and see how long it takes for a screw to show up. So this is how the bike looks like without the tank. So as we can see, this is the head of the rear cylinder. So we know it's an L shape. So the other cylinder head is down there in the front of the bike, pointing towards the front wheel. So this is the air filter unit. So there seems to have this isolator around it. Let's see if it's loose. It's kind of loose. So, yeah, it's not. It's just a piece of foam that goes around it with no particular order. So it's just stuck here a little bit. We'll clean it up really good before we put it back in. There you go. So there you go. These are the parts in order. So seat, covers, tank. So here's the airbox. It looks really dusty, so we'll see how we're gonna access this, but before, I'll do some cleanup here first. From what I understand, this is the ECU right here. Looks like there is a clamping electrical cable here. The air filter is right here. It doesn't look like it will come out from here, so we need to take this cover out. There are 1, 2, 3, and 4 screws right here. And then there is the ECU screws right here. At least, here comes the ECU out, if we take these 2 screws. So I think we're gonna do that. We're gonna take the 2 ECU screws out. That will probably free up the top of the ECU cover. And then we can undo this 4. So this looks like Torx. So we need to get a Torx. So they're all T20 Torx. We'll start with these stock ones here first. Looks like it's a plastic screw. At least this one here. There you go. Second one. Now we we can take the air box out. Well, the air filter cover, we're not touching the air box. So the air box cover, it's also T20s and it's also plastic screws. So that means that when we are screwing these back in, we have to be really careful. And it looks like, they are all the same size of screw. So no problem if we mix these two with this. Oh, here's what I'm seeing here. I have to be careful because there is a washer in here. And these things, they like to fall on the floor and not to be found ever again. There's one on this side too. There we go. There's no washer here. It looks like there's no washer there too. So try to remove it without disconnecting too many wires or having to disconnect anything. Let's see. Okay, now there are two screws here, so the one on the back is actually the one that is connecting it. So third one is out. Right, is this the moment of truth? Let's see. Yeah, it won't lift enough, so we might need to remove this. So it's open here, but it won't. Oh, there's actually 2 screws back there as well. So it's not 4 screws, it's actually 6 screws for the cover. Let's deal with this then. How are we gonna do that? Nope. So this is one cable from the ECU. This is the second cable from ECU. I think it would come out only if these screws collaborate. Okay, so here's the ECU. It just came out. So the ECU came out. So now you can see that there are 1 and 2 screws here. We need a different tool to get in there. Let's see if this will do. It's tight. So we need to get to one back there. and the other one on the right. So it's really tight. I'm just starting it. And then I'll try to finish by hand. Of course, now it's not going to come out easily because the screw is higher. Okay, it's out. So let's detach this. See if we can go the rest of the way by hand. My other hand will not get in there, so it needs to be one hand only. It's really tricky. My hands are not very large, but they're not too small as well. So if someone has a larger hand, it's pretty much going to be impossible. Let's see. And pray that this doesn't go down. Okay, it's in. So okay, it's spinning. I have no idea how I'm going to put this back there. Maybe I won't. Maybe this will have only 4 screws in the future. Careful. Okay, one is out. The last one. So, or maybe not. Maybe I'll leave that one just a little bit loose. And here's the air filter. And there's a lot of sand in here. Doesn't look to be bad or anything like that. It's just sand. I think what I'm going to do is just clean it out with air from the bottom to the top and replace it. I will also take a look, before I do this, I will also take a look at some of the aftermarket options and see what's the current lead time. I'll put some rags in there, so this bike is going to stay there for a couple of days until I order, some parts. And maybe I'll expand this project to make this an aftermarket one. I'll see what are the advantages. If there's not a lot of advantages, I'll just replace with this one. Don't know if you can see on the video, but there's a lot of dust in here. Oh my God. Yeah. Take a look at that. Yeah, there's an entire beach here. All right. Part 1 finished.